in Tombstone, Arizona. This is the Bluehill Cemetery parking lot. You just come through this entrance. It's $3. Give you a nice little booklet that highlights who's here. Then you follow this green arrow to the bottom and work your way up because the booklet goes by rows. Here's an overall look from the bottom, row 1. Then we work our way up. And as I said, the nice woman at the desk highlighted, or told me where to highlight, the famous dead people to look for. So let's go. Sadly, there's many unknown graves here with unknown stories. And the stories that are known are sad enough. But being the quick study that I am, I've noticed that this whole row is unknown. That's why I couldn't find the beginning of where I'm supposed to see the labeled ones. That's what retirement has done to me. Unknown. Alright, here we go. So this guy, Peter Smith, was killed in 1882 at the age of 23. A native of Germany was struck on the back of his head with a poker and killed by Thomas Doland during a fight. This gentleman, Van Houten, was murdered in 1879, beaten in the face with a stone until he died. Trouble was over his mining claim, which he had not registered. This is Eva Waters, who died at age 3 of scarlet fever. So here we have the grave of Old Man Clinton. He was murdered with several other men when they were ambushed on a cattle trail by Mexicans. All but one man was killed. Next, we have Billy Clanton, Frank McClary, and Tom McClary. Of course, they were murdered on the streets of Tombstone in 1881. The tragic results of the OK Corral battle, which took place between the Earp brothers with Doc Holliday and the Cowboys. 3 men were killed, obviously these 3, and 3 were wounded. Lots more unknown graves. Here's the happy story of Frank Bowles, who died in 1880. His horse became frightened and threw him off. This caused a rifle to discharge and badly injure his knee. He lay in camp for several weeks without medical attention, and when friends took him to a doctor for amputation, it was too late. I would venture to say that there's way more graves marked unknown than there are known. Here's Jonathan Heath, taken from county jail and lynched by Bisbee mob, February 22nd, 1884. He was called the leader of the 5 men who were illegally hanged and is said to have planned the robbery. He was hanged from a telegraph pole a short distance west of the courthouse. This is Freddie Fuss, or Foos, F-U-S-S. Died in 1882, a small boy who died from drinking stagnant or poisoned mine water. Per the marker, this is Rook, shot by a Chinaman. This occurred in front of the Yaples store on Fremont Street, now the Wagon Wheel Inn. This is J.D. Mcdermott, who was killed in 1882 when his spinal column was fractured when his horse fell on him while they were crossing the San Pedro River. This one just says Teamster, murdered by Apaches in 1881. Thomas Cowan, who died at age 11 months in 1881 from diphtheria. Now, John Gibson died in 1881. A driver for Nadow's ore teams fell from a wagon and his skull was crushed when the wheel of a heavy wagon ran over his head. Yikes. This is young Heine Hickson, who died in 1882. It was said that death never took a holiday in Tombstone. On this day, Hilly, a schoolboy, fell while walking on a pair of stilts and injured his back. He seemed only slightly injured. Next morning, he died suddenly in a spasm. This is Mrs. Stump, who died in 1884. She died in childbirth with an overdose of chloroform given to her by her doctor. Many ways to die. Oops. This is Delia William, who died in 1881 of suicide. Colored proprietress of a lodging house on Toughnut Street, suicided by taking arsenic. This is who? I just had it. William Grouds died of wounds in 1882, shot in the face with a shotgun by one of the officers who was sent to question him in connection with the murder of M.R. Peel. These guys, Ben and Al Scott, were ambushed by Indians in 1883. They were teamsters. Now, Alfred Pacrel, who died in 1882, was English. He was a young miner, aged 24, who died of inflammation of the bowels. Holy shit. This is John Gillespie. He was one of the officers sent to arrest Billy Grahams and Swing Hunt, suspected killers of M.R. Peel, who was in the grave next to his. He died instantly when Hunt shot him in the head. The extra decor is because law enforcement officers come here and honor him. That's what the money is for. To this day, anyone that comes to us, and law enforcement officer leaves coinage. This gentleman's poor story is right on there. Bought a stolen horse and paid the consequences because he didn't steal it. Wrong place, wrong time. This is Marshall White, shot by Curly Bill in 1880. He was accidentally shot as he started to take Curly Bill's gun. This took place on the lot where the Birdcage Theater now stands, where I'll be going later. Another interesting story. This guy, Astor Moore, was a Wells Fargo agent at Naco and had a dispute with a man over a package. Both were killed. Watch out, UPS. Now, John Swain Slaughter was the exception to the rule. He died in 1945. Well, John was nearly 100 years old when he died. He came here in 1879 with the John Slaughter family. He spent his entire life in this area. Here lie two Chinese who remain anonymous, dying from leprosy. Here are the Brady Brothers. 1883, these boys were drowned while swimming in the San Pedro River. One died in a vain attempt to save his brother aged 11 and 12. But they were resurrected in time to make the iconic television show. Now, Emmett Nunalay, with the help of townspeople, he spent his last year of his life seeking to restore as much as he could be restored. That makes no sense, I'm not speaking very well. He tried to restore this cemetery. That's where he put his last year of life into.